Hello everyone, Pastor O here, and I pray that you are all prospering and doing well in your relationships. And welcome to this week's Quickie. And this week's Quickie, I have a question for you. Is your marriage in the friend zone? That is one of the worst places that our marriages can be. And a lot of times we don't even realize that we're in the friend zone. And some of you are thinking, well, isn't one of the four needs of a man, isn't that like friendship with his wife? You're absolutely right. Friendship with his wife is one of the four needs of a man in marriage. But being in the friend zone is not the same thing. So let me take you back to when you met a person and you're like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. You guys started spending time together and you were doing things. And then next thing you know, you shoot your shot, right? It's like, hey, you want to go out to the movies on a date with me? And what do they say to you? No, I don't see you that way. It's like, dagger right through the heart, right? And it's like, you shot your shot, you're in the friend zone, and but we can still be friends. Whatever, right? And we get into this thing, and I'm sure you've all been there. Well, a lot of times the same things are happening in our marriages, and we don't even see it. We don't even see it happening. We don't know when it happened. It just all of a sudden we ended up there. We ended up being just friends. And so that's a critical, that's a very dangerous place for marriages to be in, because you're robbing your marriage, you're robbing your relationship of the one thing that is exclusive to the marriage and the marriage covenant, which is sex with your partner. And so when you're married and you don't see your spouse that way, right? And what do I mean by I don't see them? It's about how we think about them, right? And, in the beginning when we were dating, it was like, I like the way you comb your hair. I like the stylish clothes you wear. I love the little things you do. That makes me want to, the rest. So all of a sudden that goes from that to, hey, did you pick up the kids from school? What's for dinner? Hey, you forgot to pick up your socks. Or it becomes a transactional relationship. It's about your duties that you have, that we've established in our household for you to do, and my duties that we've established for me to do in my household, right? So we have the honey-do list, and then I don't think we have one for the ladies, but whatever, right? You understand what I'm saying. And so here's the thing, right? And, to further double down on this point is the reason why we fall away from this is, and, we talk about this all the time, is because of our thinking. I stopped thinking about you in that way, right? I have stopped thinking about you in that way. When we were in the friend zone before, like when we're just meeting people, what's another word that they say? I don't see you like that, or I don't think of you in that way. Some of you aren't thinking about your spouse in that way. And you're in a very, very dangerous place, because if your spouse desires you and you have one spouse that's thinking of you in that way and has those thoughts about you, right? And then you have another spouse that's giving you nothing. What happens is you put that person at risk, because now, what if somebody else starts giving them that kind of attention that you're not giving them? And I'm not making excuses for people to cheat. That's not what we're doing here. What I'm saying is we put our spouse at risk to be susceptible to things because someone outside of the relationship is giving them something that should be coming from us. So these are needs that we have as male and female, right? The woman needs security. She needs the communication. She wants the support, and all of those things, right? And the man needs respect. He needs sex. He needs friendship with his wife. So these are all needs that we have in the marriage, and I can only get them from my spouse in the marriage. And so when we talk about this, so let's talk about how we're going to fix this, right? First, you got to identify whether or not you're in the friend zone, right? Do you look at your husband or your wife? Do you look at your spouse with those sexy eyes, right? Do you look at them in that way? Do you think about them in that way? Or are you just constantly thinking, I got this to do, I got that to do, I got da 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 da, and then at the end of the night, maybe if I feel up to it, we can maybe have some sex. Maybe. I don't know. But we got to get through all this stuff first, right? Well, that's usually what happens to us, especially when we have children, when we have busy lives, all the stuff that's going on in life. If you're not intentional about your thoughts, if you're not intentional about looking at your husband or your wife in that sexy way, you have put your spouse in the friend zone. And that's a you thing, right? You can control that. You can determine whether or not you control the thoughts that you have about a person. And so like we go to work, right? And there's people that are attractive or whatever, and we see them and like, oh, that person's attractive. It doesn't go anywhere from there, but some do, right? You start to have those thoughts. And this is what Jesus talked about. If you have, if you commit the sin in your mind, you've already done it, right? So we have to make sure that, so from the negative side or from the part of the sinful side, sinful nature side, we can look at a person, have those fantasies about a person, and actually be committing adultery. But the opposite is also true. We can have those same thoughts towards our spouse and have those thoughts in our mind about our spouse and make sure that those are the things that will actually take us out of the friend zone and actually keep our sex life and our intimacy alive when it comes to our sexual relationship. So keep your marriages out of the friend zone. If you're in the friend zone, make sure that you're working to get out of the friend zone. And so part of the homework for this one in your HIT communication, right? Honest, intentional, transparent time. Make sure you talk about, hey, are we in the friend zone in our relationship? And remember not to take it personal. Don't take it, don't be judgmental about it, right? Approach it and address it and work on how you're going to change that. Okay. But there's absolute evidence whether or not you're in the friend zone or not. So I love you. Keep fighting for your marriages. Be intentional about having the greatest relationship ever. And that happens every single day. So until next time.